There are certain rules in the gaming verse that manage to remain constant no matter how much time passes, and one such rule is that movie-licensed games suck. Of course, every rule has its exceptions. There are some decent, even great games that are tied to blockbuster films, but for every one of those, there are 100 that crash and burn. Movie-licensed titles aren't all that common nowadays, but there were several console generations that saw their libraries padded with this rush-to-market trash. And when I say rushed, I mean it. In order to capitalize on the hype wave of a big Hollywood extravaganza, these games had quick turnarounds and strict deadlines, which is why so many of them were bland, boring, or straight up broken. But the game I've chosen to rant about today did not have that excuse. Beverly Hills Cop. Released in 1984, it's considered one of the quintessential 80s action comedies. The movie follows street-smart Detroit cop Axel Foley, brought to life by a charismatic Eddie Murphy, who becomes a fish out of water when he travels to Beverly Hills, California to track down his friend's killer. It's usually cited as one of Murphy's best films, even though we all know that honor goes to Shrek, and was a huge success at the box office, so, of course, there's also a Beverly Hills Cop video game. No, not that one. I'm talking about the PAL region exclusive PlayStation 2 game that came out in 2006. 2006! Yeah, someone thought it would be a worthwhile investment to try and make a game based on a property that hadn't been relevant since 1994. Little late to the party, don't you think? I first heard about this thing years back when it was briefly showcased during a stream on GiantBomb.com, where site host Jeff Gersman referred to it as, quote, the 9/11 of video games. It always looked hilariously terrible, but there was this sick, twisted part of me that was curious just how bad it was. So, after years of speculation, I made the ill-fated decision to try it out myself. And holy fuck, it's so much worse than I thought. No sarcasm, no exaggeration. Beverly Hills Cop on PS2 is the worst piece of shit I've ever had the displeasure of playing. It's an interactive war crime. Its very existence has surely damned humanity, and I am a worse person having experienced it. But I can't let my suffering be for nothing, so I'm going to detail this pile of misery to all of you watching, and I can only hope that doing so cleanses even a fraction of my tattered soul. The wizards responsible for what we're about to see were known as Atomic Planet Entertainment, who shut down in 2009. They were most well known for other gems like The Guy Game and, Jenga World Tour? It seems their most notable accomplishments were collections of games made by other companies, so clearly they were the perfect choice to give an iconic movie license to. Let's start with the main menu. I know, there were games made in Flash with more complex starting screens than this, but there's something vital I want to point out before we go any further. You see this 5-second palm tree loop going on? You hear that synth-heavy theme playing in the background? Well, strap in, because this right here is the closest this game will ever get to resembling Beverly Hills Cop. After a brief loading screen featuring this bald dude giving the OK hand gesture, yes, Twitter, that's what that means, I'm unceremoniously dropped into this dirty gray alleyway outside of a chop shop. Can't you already feel the care and attention that went into this? One short stroll later and... oh. Okay. Looks like there's a ladder. Uh-huh. And... yep. This is still going. And we're back. Alright, so during that screening of Lord of the Rings, this bit of text said we have to get past these guys, and I have a gun locked, loaded, and ready to go, so... Did I just execute Beverly Hills Cop? I mean, how else would you describe what just happened? And look at this game over screen. This sad, defeated man wearing Axel's signature jacket. I don't think there could be a more perfect visual for what's to come. So, back to the alleyway, and if you were curious, no, you cannot skip this, nor any other cutscene in the game. Turns out this starting bit is a sneaking mission, and getting spotted is an instant game over. My instinct as a lifelong sneaky boy, of course, is to crouch past all the bad men, so... God damn it. Okay, restart, alleyway, cutscene, done. Things go smoothly this time, and I actually make it to the ladder. Our hero also changes into a mechanic outfit so he can blend in, and wait. Is this bald guy supposed to be Axel Foley? Okay, fine. You were unable to, or more likely couldn't be bothered to get Eddie Murphy's likeness. But this is the best you could do? This generic Agent 47 reject whose skin tone changes every other scene? This is your lead? Oh no. So, Mr. Clean successfully infiltrates the chop shop. Good thing he's in disguise too, otherwise the pistol he's pointing at everyone might seem weird. You've got the usual thugs roaming around, all walking like they're trying to keep in a nasty poo, in addition to a handful of workers going about their business. Oh my god, that man just snapped in half! Buddy, are you okay? Your legs are protruding out of your chest. Hey guys, we have a medical emergency! Jesus Christ, it's spreading! Heading upstairs, I find a computer with some illegal data, but I don't have the password. Thankfully, Axel's apparent psychic powers tell me where to locate someone who does. So, let's head back downstairs. Oh, excuse me, sir? Anyway, we find the guy we're looking for, and some wacky banter ensues via this minigame. All you have to do is stop the spinning cylinder on a green chamber to experience some of that trademark Beverly Hills Cop wit. These things are practically impossible to fail, but if you somehow manage to, yeah, it's sad man screen for you. Around this time, you might be wondering what kind of quality voice acting is delivering all these punchlines. Well, keep wondering, cause there isn't any. There's not a single word of spoken dialogue in this entire game, leaving all these top-tier knee slappers to hang in a void of deafening silence. It's kinda like watching Amy Schumer stand up. With evidence in hand, all we have to do now is leave. But darn it, we forgot criminals have teleport powers. Time for some of that trademark Axel fast-talking to get out of this sticky situation. Or not. It doesn't actually matter if you do this minigame perfectly, everyone starts shooting regardless. Quick reminder though, if you did manage to fail this conversation, despite the fact that things are scripted to go wrong anyway, it would be game over, and without any checkpoints or mid-mission saves of any kind, it would be back to the start of the level. So, how's the combat feel, Craig? I bet it's pretty bad, right? Actually, no! It's fucking terrible! I dare you to find a worse shooter than this one. It doesn't exist. Movement is painfully slow, aiming is stiff, and also slow. The shitty, jumpy frame rate throws me off all the time. Guns sound like toys. Enemies take way too many rounds to kill and barely react to getting hit if they react at all. Many objects have oversized hitboxes that block clear and obvious shots. And since everything is hit scan, you're taking damage pretty much non-stop. At least, until I inadvertently discovered the easiest exploit ever put into a video game. After walking back into the garage where everyone was breaking in half, there's another unskippable cutscene that shows I have to backtrack to get some gasoline that I can use to fill up this car. Once this ended, because this game is well programmed, two bad guys suddenly spawned behind me, and out of sheer reflex, I ended up accidentally crouching. As I was dealing with these two, I realized I wasn't really taking damage anymore. Guess what? The AI doesn't know how to look up and down, so when crouched, they just shoot over you. You'll still take the occasional hit. On average, I'd say 1 in every 10 shots will still connect. But enemies have such a slow fire rate that they'll usually be dead before they can do anything. This makes any and all shootouts laughably easy, and you bet your ass I took advantage of this dominant strategy. The downside is that a lot of my gameplay footage is from the perspective of someone lying on a skateboard, but that's a small price to pay for getting through this crap faster. So we shoot the guys, get the gas, fill up the car, and make our epic escape. We then cut to Vin Diesel in his highly detailed office, where we get a call from his old buddy Taggart. You remember Taggart, right? 'Cause this is Beverly Hills Cop? He tells us he was investigating a criminal gang and thought they might be up to some illegal activity.
No shit!
But during the investigation, his partner Billy went missing. You remember Billy, right? 'Cause this is Beverly Hills Cop? Since we all know how Mr. Diesel feels about family, he decides to head back to sunny California. Okay, no joke, this screen right here, I adore it. Yeah, I know, it's thrown together with all the care of a preschooler's finger painting, but something about this face is weirdly wholesome, and it honestly makes me smile. Look, I'm wading through sewage here, I need to find joy where I can. Mission 2 has us infiltrating a warehouse to save a kidnapped Billy. Things aren't hostile at first, so I wander around looking for the critical path. Small quirk of the game I haven't mentioned yet, when you go to open a door, normally nothing happens when you first interact with it. You have to back away a bit, and then it'll swing open. That might seem nitpicky, but it's one of those minor issues you keep running into, so the annoyance factor builds and builds over time. Eventually, I take this conveyor belt into the next room, where I run into another amazing stealth section. My instincts again told me to crouch through this place, but the slower movement speed led to me getting spotted. Really, it's my fault for applying any logic to this shit pile. It's not like there's noise to worry about, so on my second go, I just strolled by everyone without really thinking about it. You spend like 30 seconds solid snaking through some vents, but immediately after exiting, your cover is blown and the heat is on. There's only a few baddies in here, and some red barrels that I thought may be explosive, but that was wishful thinking on my part. Also found a few new firearms, including a revolver that has the firing rate of a retirement home, and an Uzi that must be uber powerful because the simple act of holding it shatters your index finger. Axel manages to free Billy from the van he's being held in, when suddenly... even the music decided it didn't want to be here. Hey, the fact that we heard that second of audio alone is remarkable, because for 95% of this game, there is no music. All you ever really hear in the background is the constant hum of an industrial air conditioner. An extended shootout begins with waves of criminals filing in to be gunned down. But oh no, Billy gets hit in the leg! Yep, he's clearly incapacitated. Once I've cleared the room, I find our escape route blocked off by this locked gate and a few unsettling shadow men. I find a junction box to restore power to said gate, check on our partner real quick. He seems fine, and fight through even more henchmen. Billy actually manages to catch up at some point, which I found miraculous, because I was fully expecting this to be a soft lock. Meeting up at the exit, Billy tells Axel to go back and search for evidence of illegal activity. Hey, Billy? I'm pretty sure the kidnapping and attempted murder of a police officer is all you really need at this point. Of course, searching for evidence means backtracking and shooting my way through the entire level again until I end right back up where Billy was found in the first place, all while amazing one-liners flash on the screen. I take out like a dozen guys in this room, and then wander in circles for 2 minutes before the level remembers it's supposed to end.
And his name is John C.
Oh, how I've missed you, my sweet, sweet boy. Onward we press to the third stage, where Axel investigates a shipyard. A few steps in, and Axel comments about having to keep quiet yet again. I'll have to put on my extra sneaky sneakers. Splinter Cell Blacklist stole this! Oh, by the way, if you're like me, you're trying to get through this shit as quickly as possible, but Beverly Hills Cop is programmed to make you suffer. There's an invisible wall that you can't pass until the on-screen text disappears. That's a special level of cruelty. Axel comes across two thugs chit-chatting close by and uses his honed ninja skills to steal a wallet left in the car.
Yoink!
You know, just for funsies, let's list some other games that came out in 2006 that I could be playing instead of this. Black, Burnout Revenge, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, Hitman Blood Money, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Dead Rising, Saints Row. Next up is the largest stealth section in the entire game, and without knowledge of guard routes or systems that provide that vital information, you'll be seeing this soul-crushing image at least a few times. The upside is that I get to see this stellar thievery again and again. There's a shipping container that has to be moved out of the way to progress, and oh boy. Anyway, you might think this large and obvious crane is where you need to go, but nope. Instead, there's another junction box stuffed in some random corner you have to find. After a couple failures and retries, I got spotted yet again, and out of frustration, I unloaded into the asshole who was about to send me to the game over screen. But to my surprise, killing him stopped the alarm from being raised. I was so stunned by this that another guard had time to walk up, and I shut him down too. I'm blown away that someone actually programmed a way for the player to correct a mistake. Naturally, I started shooting everyone I came across, though my bloodlust did get a bit overzealous and I ended up failing one more time. After some silent murder and a Russian chat roulette or two, I found the back office I was looking for. This triggers an automatic alarm forcing you to shoot your way out the way you came, but honestly, I welcomed it. Look, the gunplay sucks a big fat one, but it's doom eternal compared to the awful trial and error sneaking. Our fourth mission takes us to a strip club named The Fast Market for some good old sleuthing, although, truthfully, when I first saw this sign, I thought it said The Fart Market, a far superior name in my opinion. If you're struck with the feeling that something is missing all of a sudden, give yourself a gold star. This is actually a non-combat stage, so for once, Axel isn't aggressively pointing a gun at everyone. He's solely here to gather information, which, as far as gameplay goes, means a ton of exciting walking. The owner of the club refuses to let me in, so my first task is to sneak in through the employee entrance by convincing this guy I'm the glass collector. Once I've successfully tricked him, he still doesn't let me in, so I have to crouch under this desk. Guitar Hero 2, Bully, Gears of War, Resistance, Fall of Man, Loco Roco, Prey, Rockstar Games presents Table Tennis. Now that I'm in, I can observe all the patrons of this fine establishment having a grand old time and discover where most of this game's animation budget went. Oh, and what I said earlier about being a busboy? Yeah, that wasn't just an excuse. You actually have to walk around collecting drinking glasses and returning them to the bartender. That done, I'm allowed access to the back rooms where an extended fetch quest begins. First, I have to talk to a couple strippers who simply tell me to get lost. Then I wander in circles a bit before stumbling into this delivery guy who needs a manager's signature. Wander around some more until I find where he is, who asks me to retrieve a folder he left on his car. Go get that, and then magically, the owner's office is accessible. So, all that stuff I just described? Pointless. Served no purpose. It was all artificial busywork designed to put barriers between you and the main objective. Once you're in the office, Axel is confronted by the boss man and proceeds to give him an unconsensual hug. He's then thrown out. But ha! The sneaky devil found a letter detailing a suspicious shipment. Mission accomplished. Now, everything I've said about this level may seem lame and boring and terrible, but I actually found it to be one of the most nail-bitingly intense stealth sections I've ever played. While you're snooping around the back rooms, guards will stop to ask what you're up to, but you can easily do that speech minigame and bypass all of them. However, the owner of the club is also wandering around, and if he sees you just once, it's yet another instant fail and mission restart. I had this happen my initial go, meaning I had to redo all the glass collecting, stripper telephone, and fetch questing all over again, and the prospect of having to repeat all that tedious bullcrap a third time put the fear of God in me. I legit became all kinds of paranoid, staring down hallways to see exactly where he was coming from. It's actually impressive to me that one can make a game so bad that the threat of having to play it more is enough to give a player anxiety. Level 5 has us intercepting that shipment we found out about and chasing down a boat captain. And if you're suddenly feeling a sense of déjà vu, yes, this is the same shipping yard we saw just 2 missions ago. Despite the fact that Beverly Hills Cop only boasts a whopping 6 stages, they still couldn't resist the urge to blatantly recycle one of them. That is remarkably lazy, but honestly, this is the best level in the whole game, for the simple reason that it's entirely combat. There's no insta-fail sneaking crap, no pointless chit-chats, all I have to do is crawl forward and shoot everything that moves. And because of that, I was done with this raid in less than 10 minutes. Axel, I don't think that's how you hold a grenade launcher, my guy. There was a slight scare at the end of the level where the captain made a run for a speedboat, and I'm guessing if he had made it, I would have seen the game over screen. Thankfully, I stopped that from happening with the power of bullets.
I'm not your friend, buddy! I'm not your buddy, guy!
We've arrived at the finale, the action-packed conclusion to this absolute train wreck. This level is another non-stop shooting gallery set in a luxurious mansion. Or at least whatever approximation of one the budget of this game allowed for. As you'd expect from the last stage, there are swarms of bad guys to kill. Effortlessly done so thanks to my tried and true belly crawl technique. I glide through each room, going through the usual motions of blasting inept henchmen, with the only unique encounter being this Gatling gun here. I know that sounds threatening, but it's easily obliterated in seconds by shooting the glowing pillar holding it up. Of course, once he's located, the big bad makes a run for it as the iconic Beverly Hills Cop theme kicks on to complement this climactic chase. Good thing the music stopped, otherwise that text may have been hard to hear. I backtrack all the way to the front door and witness a helicopter coming to pick up the villain. Alright, time to end this. Come back here, criminal. Should only take a few shots to stop him. What? Wait, what happened? What did I do wrong? What the fuck? Tony Hawk's Project 8. God Hand. The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. Splinter Cell, Double Agent. Okami. Tomb Raider Legend. Desperate Housewives, the game. Okay, if you've ever played a video game before, let me ask you, what does this camera pan communicate? I'm guessing most of you drew the same conclusion I did, that it's pointing to where the bad guy is, and yeah, that's exactly what it's doing. Plus, remember how the mission directly before this one ended. A guy ran from me, and I had to stop him. So it's logical to assume you have to chase down this guy too. After playing through the entire level a second time, I tried chasing him again, but no matter what I did, he kept right on running. He even made it past a door that I couldn't interact with. I couldn't open it or shoot it or anything, leaving me stumped for a solid minute before the game decided it was done having its way with me. On my third attempt, I finally figured out what you're supposed to do. To finish this level and beat the game, you have to ignore this blatant misdirect and simply shoot at the helicopter. There is, of course, no indication you're actually doing any damage to it, and since it takes a good 5 magazines from an assault rifle to kill the chopper, most players will probably assume they're doing the wrong thing and fail this part over and over. At first, I wanted to be angry about this horrible conveyance where the game basically lies to you to trick you into failing, but really, it's fitting that the last bit of gameplay you experience in this travesty is confusing, frustrating, and in no way fun. because that's the perfect description for this entire game. Look, there's no need to spell this out, but just in case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, Beverly Hills Cop on PS2 earns its title as the 9/11 of video games. It is unquestionably the worst pile of flaming dog shit I have ever played in my fucking life, and I once marathoned Ride to Hell. Even though this whole thing takes about the length of one of the movies to get through, yeah, this game is maybe 2 hours long, each second spent playing it is a misery I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. The sheer level of incompetence showcased here leads me to believe this had to have been programmed by a team of blind, deaf amputees, who were also drunk. I've seen browser-based porn games with more polish and care, and this embarrassment would fit right in with all the early access garbage that floods the Steam marketplace. It's bad! But you know what the worst part of all this is? I did this to myself. I knew before I even started playing this, it was going to suck. You knew before you clicked on this video, it was going to suck. No one was sitting there wondering, oh, is Beverly Hills Cop for PS2 any good? This entire endeavor was entirely pointless. Well, at least I'll get some ad revenue out of it. Thank you all for making it this far and suffering right along with me. If you enjoyed watching my pain, subscribe to the Critical Nobody channel for more, take a moment to hit that like button, and leave a comment down below describing your own personal gaming nightmare. Everybody has one. Man, this whole thing sucked. I can't think of anything that would bring my spirits up after all that. Ah, he's like a warm blanket.